And I'll admit everyone.
Wow, so good afternoon, everyone. This is a little bit of a flashback back to the deep days of COVID. I'm Audrey Russo, President and CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council and a nonprofit called 40 by 80, which is the longitude and latitude of Pittsburgh. So good afternoon. This is today's session of what we're calling Beyond Business as Usual. If you know us, we're always trying to be relevant and make sure that we are bringing to you the most important things that affect our ecosystem. And today is no different. So when we launched the Business as Usual series, March 20th of 2020, our goal was to keep Pittsburgh connected to the world and the world connected to Pittsburgh during the peak of the pandemic. Over the course of almost 300 daily sessions, we interacted with guests from 3 continents, countless nations, hosted nearly 6,000 members of Pittsburgh's business community, nonprofit community, and others who found their way into listening to our daily Zoom. So we're back today, and we've got lots of people who are here joining us, so I can't thank you today. It's never been more important to Pittsburgh to stay connected to the world, and we could not have picked a more important topic to bring us back to the spirit of our Business as Usual series. So this afternoon, in addition to being joined by our distinguished guests from Ukraine, our audience is comprised of members of the Tech Council and a number of our sister organizations, by the way, across the United States, including the Massachusetts Technology Council and the Leadership Council and the Arizona Technology Council. And I think there are others as I see them come through. So we're very honored to be hosting several special distinguished guests with us today. First, we are joined, and he told me that he looks nothing like the PowerPoint picture here, so don't be surprised when we bring him on. Kostyantyn Vorona, he's head of Consular Division and also the Humanitarian Assistance Unit for the Embassy of Ukraine in the USA. And we're also joined by his colleague, who actually has the lead on many of the medical supplies that we'll talk about in a minute, Timur Bodorkov, and I'm calling him Tim. He's the second secretary for the Embassy of Ukraine. And finally, our partner and our friend who is a leader, and he is the president of an organization called Brothers Brother Foundation that has been based in Pittsburgh since the 1950s and has had their finger in disaster relief and lots of issues that have faced the world for a long time. So I'm very thrilled to have him on as well. So I just want to remind everyone, just do a little bit of, sort of format, rules, housekeeping. To keep things organized, we have muted everyone's microphones. I'll ask that you stay mute on the call. But we do encourage you, and Jonathan Kirsting's here, he's going to be looking at the chat. So we encourage you to ask questions. We'll try to get to them during the call. But with the size of today's audience, I can't guarantee that we'll get to everything today. So we are recording, and Jonathan is going to be moderating. He will be able to poke me from time to time if he thinks there's an amazing question or something that I've overlooked. So with that said, enough of the housekeeping, enough of the intros. I want to welcome our first guest to the program. I told you that his name is Kostyantyn, and let's bring him to the forefront.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here.
It is so great for you to be here. I can't thank you enough. I wish we could have met under different circumstances, but I'm so glad that you could be with us today. And before we talk about humanitarian relief, first a couple of minutes about you and your role, and really how are you doing? Maybe a little bit about your role prior to this war and how it's changed. We just want to hear from you and make sure that you're okay as well.
Well, thank you for that opportunity. On a good days, I'm a chief consular officer at the embassy. We oversee the passport service, notary services, visa services. So, we had normal life, normal work schedule until recently uh, when Ukraine was attacked by a neighboring country, Russia.
Mhm.
Uh, um, for now, in addition to my regular duties, I oversee humanitarian aid teamwork. And well, this is of this schedule. We don't have 9 to 6 or 9 to 5 schedule anymore. So we're doing our best to coordinate any NGOs trying to help Ukraine by all means, either medical supplies, medication, food supplies, you name it. What is it needed Ukraine needs? We're here at least to assist companies, individuals who want to help. And obviously, sometime needs do change, as uh, events develop. And so pretty much that's what we do 24/7. We don't have hundreds of people here, but hardworking, dedicated team. So I truly appreciate also my colleague team next to me,
Mhm.
whose focus is on medical supplies, and I truly appreciate all the assistance I'm getting from my colleagues as well. Uh, yep.
So how are you and where is your home? How are you and your family?
Well, my family is here with me. My wife and daughter. But if we're talking about broader family, my parents are back in Ukraine, in a city called Khmelnytsky. They are along with my brother, who relocated from Kiev for time being and working distantly, but they dedicate their time to help assist individuals making their way from east to west with housing, food, supplies, and so on. So they have a lot of on their plate as well. So no complaints on my part. I'm okay, but keeping in prayers all our family is back in Ukraine.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for that. And so we are seeing heartbreaking images, right? I mean, our news sources are varied and robust and come from lots of different perspectives. So most of the people on this call share the collective interest to help because we're seeing this kind of suffering. And I believe the number of immigrants has risen to about 3.5 million that have left Ukraine, and maybe 10 million people have moved inside of Ukraine from their original homes. And my numbers might be directionally off. I mean, directionally correct, but not accurate. Um, what, people want to help, right? So can you talk about the most effective and immediate ways that people and businesses can help you right now?
Well, first of all, we have to differentiate assistance to Ukraine, in Ukraine, and assistance to, let's say, refugees who already fled country. So we do have refugees, millions of them by now, across Western, in the countries west from Ukraine. And we do truly appreciate all the assistance from our neighboring countries on the West, taking the burden of assisting our nationals, mainly women and children and elderly, to host them, provide them home and necessary assistance, medical and so on. In regard to assistance in Ukraine, because as you mentioned, there are locally displaced people, about 10 million of them. It's a big number, to be honest. Even with the size, let's say, of US population, about what, 330 million or more. 10 million people, it's a large number. So main focus right now on our part is to assist people in Ukraine, because they do need medical supply, they need housing, food, and since we do realize that our neighboring countries like Poland, they're doing their best to help people who already left the country. So that's regarding assisting our nationals in Ukraine. And obviously we do need assistance to armed forces in Ukraine,
Okay.
because obviously on the battlefield is one thing, you need to have food, you need to have medical supplies as well, emergency medical supplies for this matter. And so we are focusing on those, in those spheres.
So I just want to ask another question, and there are some great questions in the chat. So what about combating cyber threats? What's happening? We're seeing things about cybersecurity, and you're talking to mostly tech crowd here, with so many executives that are here on the call. What are there specific needs that we can, maybe rally around, or are they just the priorities that you just articulated?
Well, in regard to tech needs, there are obviously, we've been blessed to have so many companies and governments approaching and assisting us with, you heard about Starlinks and so
Right.
on.
Right.
Yeah, so there are so many generous proposals went to Ukraine. But our team, even though we do have a separate small team whose main focus is on let's say cyber tech issues, but we do have I call it down to earth tech needs, like satellite phones, radio stations, drones, ambulances, portable power diesels and gas generators, and night vision devices. Let's say blood plasma refrigerators, which are needed. I would call it portable refrigerators, because in most cases it needs to be transported in urgent and very quickly. So, yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. And, there are things that we can do offline as well to be helpful and try to amass those priorities. So can you just talk a little bit about, I know we've partnered with Brothers Brother, and I'll bring Ozzy on in a minute. And I also want to get to some of the questions, but we've gotten the medical supplies to the Ministry of Health. Can you talk about the status of the Ministry of Health and their operations? Are you receiving some of the right supplies? Does that happen? I mean, I can imagine people want to help, and sometimes it's not the right supplies.
That's right. We do. I'm on contact with Minister of Health officials on a daily basis. And we do receive updated lists regularly, like every other day. If there is a need comes up, they do add to the list, or if they have a plenty of supply that came in, they take it off of the list. We are happy to share that recent list that we received. It's in English, and it's nothing. I'm not a medical professional, but most likely people will figure out what is it. But we'll be happy to share those lists of needs along with the technical needs as well.
So interesting. So many of the questions that are being asked in the chat, there's so many amazing questions. And, we have a very strong Ukrainian American community, very large. And there are so many people who want to hire and help, right? And figure out pathways for people to either come to Pittsburgh or make sure that we can hire them, particularly in tech. There's a huge amount of technology talent that's been all across the Ukraine and even Russia. There have been, just a lot of technology talent. So do you have anything that you want to say about that? Maybe we do a special session about that another time, but I can see that there's a pattern that people want to help in a real material way.
Meaning when someone wants to hire
Right. Mhm.
people coming in?
Or hire, right. I mean, because we have to talk about how people can get here and refugees, because the United States does have, I think there's a new plan to allow some refugees to come into the United States, but also people are interested in hiring, or there are good pathways for that.
Well, for now, what my understanding is that there was an announcement yesterday about the refugee program, but as of today, there are no details on what program will program will be included, or maybe there are several ways that refugees will come in. So we are working with our U.S. colleagues on that, waiting for the details on their part, and hopefully we'll be able to share with our citizens. For also, we do receive on a daily basis the emails, from companies, proposing, job offerings, and vice versa, people who are looking for a job. But they are still in Ukraine. So once, I believe, the program will include more details, how, when, and that more people can come into the United States. That more detailed information is coming, hopefully.
Right.
soon.
Okay, right. I see James Smith even said that hopefully by next week we'll be able to do that. Jonathan, you want to grab at least one question out of here? There's amazing, questions, and we are going to circle back and provide these questions directly after the session as well. Jonathan,
Absolutely,
is there one that you want to grab?
I see one here right now from Jake Lucerian at a Gecko, and wants to know, what is the risk with the nuclear power plant after the attack? How confident are you that things are safe on the critical asset side to ensure catastrophic failures don't occur? And he's got the equipment that can actually go in these things and check them out, which is pretty cool. Just saying.
Well, I'm not specialist in that. I'm telling you right away and honest.
Yeah, of course.
So, but if there is someone interested to talk to one of our embassy staff member, we can obviously direct them in right directions to talk in detail.
Excellent. So that's an action item that we'll have. Jonathan, you want to grab another one?
Absolutely. They keep coming. So EdgeCase actually has an office in Munich, and they would like to be helpful. Is there a way that they can get in touch and find a way to be able to provide their resources as needed?
Obviously, we do have our consular office in Munich. If they will need a point of contact, we'll be glad to provide one.
Okay. Well, there's plenty others. So, hang on, people, your questions, we are going to say we have them. So we're going to make sure that we address them. We'll follow up with Constantine.
Absolutely.
So don't go anywhere. I just want to bring on Ozzy Samad. I want to bring on Ozzy. Ozzy is the president of a very special organization called Brothers Brother. And, prior to the invasion of Ukraine, Ozzy and I actually hadn't met. We hadn't met, which is sort of crazy, but we hadn't had a chance to work together. So I want to share a bit of the background on how we were connected real quick, so you can understand the very exciting ways that Pittsburgh is notorious for collaborating. And a few weeks back, Lynn Doverspike from the U.S. Commercial Service at the Department of Commerce, who we have a great relationship with, sent me a note and shared a very specific list of medical supplies and the medicines that had been requested through the Ministry of Health in Ukraine, which I referenced before. And they told us that every hour counted. And so if myself and my team, when someone says that, we sort of jump up and go, okay, how can we help? Right away, I reached out to the president and CEO of of Highmark, with David Holmberg, and also to Cindy Hundorfin, and included Dan Honorato. And within 24 hours, they really jumped on this, and they, immediately donated 75 pallets of supplies. And then our members stepped in with financial contributions. I mean, it just sort of spiraled. And then one of our mutual friends, Robert Mangino from KDKA, connected Ozzy and I. So fast forward, Ozzy and the Tech Council have been fast friends. So I want to Ozzy, take it from here. Okay, this is, I really want people to understand who is brother's brother and why you're so well positioned to help organize such a rapid response to these kinds of requests.
Yeah, excuse me, Audrey, thank you so much for the intro. And I've got to say, it's fantastic to be a part of the Tech Council. And this whole effort really stems from a conversation with Audrey starting the day. So I couldn't be happier at being involved with the Tech Council and being in front of you today. So as Audrey mentioned, once we received this needs list from the Ukrainian Ministry of Health, via the connection Audrey mentioned, we took a look at what our supplies were. And frankly, Robert Mangino emailed it to me. I was in traffic in front of the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. Emailed it to Liam Carstens, who's on this call, who's a VP of programs, and said, can you take a look at this? I just got this. Traffic was very slow and stopped. So in any case, by the time we got home, I got on a call with Audrey, and was thrilled to bits that she reached out to David Holmberg. So in any case, when we took a look, Liam was checking to see what we had in our warehouse in terms of pharma and medical supplies. And usually, we have a fair amount. And what we ended up having was, sporadic amounts of pharmaceuticals that were needed, and one item on the medical supply list, which was gloves. So for us, given what the needs were, and what we had heard from people on the Ukrainian side, and so on, it was critical for us to be able to get more of the medicines and supplies. So David Holmberg, as Audrey said, was absolutely phenomenal. He called the next morning. He's actually on hold because I was on a call with Audrey. So I didn't realize it was David Holmberg until someone came in my office and said, Dan Honorato is on along with David Holmberg. So I got off the phone, picked up David. And within 24 hours, they had 72 pallets of supplies and equipment for us. So we were very fortunate. Kostyantyn was just invaluable in terms of connecting us with the Ministry of Health. And thereafter, I think it was Alexandra Kozlova, a connection there, who connected us with somebody on the logistics end. So what happened, we got the supplies on Friday. By Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't recall, they were out. They went from here to JFK to Charles de Gaulle, from there to Warsaw. And in the meantime, I was in contact with the logistics person. The trucks went from Ukraine, from Lviv, picked the supplies up in Warsaw and brought them back into Lviv. A little interesting tidbit on this whole thing. I was texting him on Thursday night, and he was giving me updates. Okay, they're at the border at Poland. They're past the border. They're right outside Lviv. I went to sleep, got up, texted him fairly early, our time, and he said, well, we had to reroute because missiles just hit Lviv. So before I actually had a chance to look at the news, that was my first inclination. Something was going out, was because somebody on the ground was telling me that the missiles had just hit. So fortunately, they were able to reroute, and they got the medicines and supplies into the warehouse for the Ministry of Health. Now, amazingly enough, Highmark AHN has said that they will provide essentially the same amount for a second go around. Mm-hmm. So on Monday, there's humanitarian supplies that we received from Giant Eagle that are going to go out. And these are for the refugees at the reception centers in Poland. And hopefully by Wednesday, we should have the AHN Highmark second go around, which includes a portable X-ray machine. And we can get that out shortly thereafter, and we have additional supplies. But I guess I never really introduced BBF to you. We've been around since 1958. We work in 4 areas, which is healthcare, infrastructure, disaster response, and education. And this, normally the disasters tend to be natural. This one, unfortunately, is man-made, but we're more than happy to be able to work with our colleagues, Ukrainian colleagues, and try to help as much as possible. And I do want to add, I know there are a number of people, well, obviously, from the Tech Council, the support that we have received through Audrey, and she always says kind words about me, but quite frankly, it's a joint effort amongst all of us and a number of you on this call. I see Josh Whiteside, who we work with in a different area. But in any case, we could not be more appreciative. When people say, oh, you guys are doing great stuff, my response is the only way we can do anything is because of support from the community. If not, it's just conversations. So, it's great to be connected to Kostyantyn, Timur, and everybody else. So thank you from our side, and I'll pause there.
So, we had a dream that we would say, let's raise 250K, right? That's what we said, let's raise. Where are we today?
We're over 1 million.
We're over 1 million today.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have goosebumps. So if you want to know more about Brothers Brother, you can look them up. There's a landing page all about the Ukraine. He puts up news releases, press releases each and every day. And they're located in the north side as well. So, that's my plug to try to help them and get to know them. So I want to go back to Kostyantyn really quick to make sure that I'm just so moved by the amount of people that are here and the comments that people have. You have thank yous and people feeling very, very blessed. So Kostyantyn, can we, and Ozzy, don't go away. Kostyantyn,
Yes.
is there anything else that you want to make sure that we cover in here? Because I want to be sensitive that we have just 30 minutes. You have many things to do, as Ozzy does as well. Is there anything that you want to say to all of us?
Yes, and well, I do appreciate all the Ozzy's effort with what he's doing, a tremendous job, and we're here to help. So truly appreciate all the donations and people that trying their best to find medical supplies, medicine, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to make sure that people, most people just asking me, how can I help?
Right.
Well, there are several ways. Either donate. There is a website dedicated government website. It's simply help.gov.ua. Or there are several NGOs across the United States collecting, individual donations. And there are also, organizations like Brother Foundation, and I encourage each and everyone personally, and if your company is interested to do that part, always welcome. Also, there is another way, encourage people stop doing business in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because each penny that is paid to Russian budget goes directly to fund war. If now it's Ukraine, God forbid, there will be somebody else next in line under attack. So in order for us to stop it, please help Ukraine.
Perfect. So we have shared a lot of URLs. We've had a lot of conversation. I want to remind everyone, if I didn't say it before, that we will share, repeat the government website, the URL for donations as well. We will share all that. Jonathan and I have been texting and through this, and he has an idea of giving an update every week. So if you're interested in doing that, we will provide an update every week. as it makes sense and work with Brothers Brother and our other partners in the Department of Commerce as well. But we also have, I just want to remind everyone just on the pitch for Brothers Brother, for every dollar that goes into Brothers Brother is a dollar out. So they are not, there's no overhead that is being extracted from the $1 million that has been generated so far. And we're not stopping. We're not stopping. So if anyone knows how to reach myself, they know how to reach Ozzy now. And we will make sure that we stay connected to the embassy, the representatives that we have here. I can't thank them enough. Big shout out to Mangino on KDKA, who has given us a lot of room to talk about this stuff over the last few weeks. It's been fun and been amazing. And we appreciate that support. We do whatever we can to partner with KDKA. So it's pretty cool and it's wonderful. So we are going to take these questions, Jonathan, right? We're going to take all these questions, we're going to save them, we're going to get them to the right hands, and we will get back to you. So I cannot thank you all enough for caring and for being with us today. And stay tuned. We will stay connected, and Slava Ukraine.
Героям слава. Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you.
Stuff, everybody.
God bless everyone.